Welcome, friends, to Ancient Paths, Modern Steps. There are moments in every life of faith when the path narrows, when the voices of encouragement fade, and the way forward seems to lead directly into the teeth of opposition, or worse, into the cold silence of disapproval. What do you when your conscience, shaped by the teachings of Jesus, demands you walk a solitary road, even when the crowd, your friends, your colleagues, your culture, is cheering for a different destination? Today, we explore this challenging terrain in an episode we're calling The Cross in the Crowd, when you're called to stand alone. Let me introduce you to Anya. Anya is a gifted architect known for her innovative, sustainable designs. She's passionate about creating spaces that not only look beautiful, but also serve communities and honor the environment. Her faith, a quiet but deeply rooted conviction, informs her ethics and her desire to contribute positively to the world. She's part of a thriving firm, well respected by her peers, and on track for a partnership. The firm lands a prestigious project, designing a new flagship headquarters for Omnicorp, a massive global conglomerate. It's the kind of project that makes careers. Excitement buzzes through the office. Omnicorp is known for its sleek branding, its philanthropic wing, and its public commitments to ethical practices. But as Anya delves into the deeper research for the project, she uncovers unsettling truths. Beneath Omnicorp's polished veneer are credible reports of exploitative labor practices in their overseas supply chains, significant environmental damage in their resource extraction, and a pattern of aggressively quashing smaller ethical competitors. The philanthropic wing, while doing some good, feels more like a sophisticated PR exercise than a genuine commitment to justice. Anya feels a knot tighten in her stomach. This isn't just a design challenge, it's a moral one. She remembers Jesus' words, "You cannot serve both God and money," Matthew 6:24. She thinks of his scathing critiques of hypocrisy, of those who clean the outside of the cup and dish, but inside they are full of greed and self-indulgence, Matthew 23:25. Jesus, who overturned the tables in the temple, wasn't afraid to confront powerful institutions when they prioritized profit over people, or image over integrity. She tries to dismiss her concerns. It's just a building, she tells herself. My job is to design it well. I can't police the ethics of every client. Her colleagues are ecstatic about the project. Her boss, David, who has mentored her for years, sees this as their firm's crowning achievement. The crowd is united in its enthusiasm. To even question it would be to invite bewildered stares, accusations of naivety, or worse, of sabotaging the firm's future. But the unease persists. It follows her home, interrupts her sleep. During her quiet times, she reads about Jesus standing before Pilate. Surrounded by a hostile crowd, abandoned by his closest friends, facing the ultimate worldly power, Jesus stood firm in his identity and his mission. He didn't compromise his truth for safety or acceptance. "For this reason I was born, and for this I came into the world, to testify to the truth," he declared. John 18:37. Anya considers the cross in this situation. It's not a literal crucifixion, of course, but speaking out could mean professional suicide, losing the respect of her colleagues, being labeled as difficult, unrealistic, a troublemaker, derailing her career, the one she's worked so hard to build. It would be so much easier to stay silent, to go with the flow, to rationalize her participation. But the unease persists. It follows her home, interrupts her sleep. During her quiet times, she reads about Jesus standing before Pilate. Surrounded by a hostile crowd, abandoned by his closest friends, facing the ultimate worldly power, Jesus stood firm in his identity and his mission. He didn't compromise his truth for safety or acceptance. "For this reason I was born, and for this I came into the world, to testify to the truth," he declared. John 18:37. Anya considers the cross in this situation. It's not a literal crucifixion, of course, but speaking out could mean professional suicide, losing the respect of her colleagues, being labeled as difficult, unrealistic, a troublemaker, derailing her career, the one she's worked so hard to build. It would be so much easier to stay silent, to go with the flow, to rationalize her participation. But the unease persists. It follows her home, interrupts her sleep. During her quiet times, she reads about Jesus standing. She thinks about Jesus' teaching, "Enter through the narrow gate. For wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it." Matthew 7:13-14. This project, this path of unquestioning complicity, feels like the broad road, easy, popular, acclaimed. But her conscience, illuminated by her faith, is pointing towards a much narrower, lonelier path. She speaks to her pastor, an older, thoughtful woman named Grace. Pastor Grace listens patiently, without offering easy answers. She simply asks Anya, "When you stand before God, what account of this decision will you want to give?" Jesus also said, "What good will it be for someone to gain the whole world, yet forfeit their soul?" Matthew 16:26. Sometimes the cost of discipleship is precisely that. It costs us something worldly. The words resonate deeply. Anya realizes this isn't just about Omnicorp, it's about her own integrity, her witness. If her faith means anything, it has to mean something here, in the messy realities of her professional life. With trepidation, Anya prepares. She gathers her research, meticulously documents her concerns, and focuses not on accusation, but on the values their firm claims to uphold: sustainability, ethical practice, community benefit. She prays for courage, for wisdom, for the right words. She requests a meeting with David and the other senior partners. As she lays out her concerns, the room grows cold. She sees the shock, then the irritation, then the dismissiveness in their eyes. David argues that her information is probably biased, that all large corporations have a few issues, and that their job is to build, not to be social justice warriors. Another partner scoffs, "If we applied your standards, Anya, we'd hardly have any clients left." She feels utterly alone. The crowd has turned. There's no applause, no understanding nods, just the heavy weight of disapproval. Anya doesn't raise her voice. She simply states, "I understand your perspective, but based on what I know and what I believe our firm should stand for, I cannot in good conscience lead this project or put my name to it." The fallout is immediate and painful. She's taken off the Omnicorp project, of course. Whispers follow her down the hallways. Lunch invitations dwindle. David is distant, clearly disappointed. The partnership track seems to vanish overnight. It is a kind of professional death. In the quiet of her apartment, doubt gnaws at her. Did I do the right thing? Was I just self-righteous? Have I thrown away my future? Then she remembers Jesus again. Not just the triumphant Christ, but the Jesus who was misunderstood, rejected by his own people, betrayed. The Jesus who willingly carried his cross, even when it meant walking that path utterly alone. His call was not to popularity or worldly success, but to faithfulness. "Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me." Matthew 16:24. Anya's cross isn't a literal one, but it is heavy. It's the cross of isolation, of professional setback, of being misunderstood. Yet amidst the pain, there's a strange, quiet peace, a sense of integrity, a knowledge that she chose the narrower, harder path, not out of arrogance, but out of a deep conviction rooted in the one who walked the ultimate lonely road for the sake of truth and love. Her story doesn't end with a triumphant vindication where Omnicorp is exposed and her firm begs her forgiveness. Life is rarely that neat. Perhaps she'll have to find a new firm or even start her own, one built on the principles she holds dear. The future is uncertain, but Anya knows she stood her ground. In the cacophony of the crowd demanding conformity, she listened to the quiet, insistent voice of her conscience, the echo of her teacher. She chose the cross in the crowd, and in doing so found a deeper, more authentic connection to the way of Jesus. Host, Anya's story is a powerful reminder that following Jesus sometimes means standing apart. Let's consider this more deeply. Discussion questions. Identifying your crowd. Who or what constitutes the crowd in your life? Example, workplace culture, social media trends, peer groups, family expectations, societal norms. In what areas do you feel the strongest pressure to conform? Whispers of conscience. Whispers of conscience. Can you recall a time when your conscience, perhaps informed by your faith, nudged you in a direction different from the prevailing opinion or easiest path? What was that experience like? The modern cross. Anya's cross involved potential career damage and social isolation. What might a cross look like for you in your current context if you were called to stand alone for your convictions? Think beyond overtly religious stands to ethical dilemmas, social justice issues, etc. Fear and faithfulness. Jesus acknowledged that his followers would face opposition. John 15:18-20. How do we navigate the very real fears associated with standing alone, fear of rejection, ridicule, loss, while striving for faithfulness? Wisdom in the stand. When is it right to take a stand, and how can we do so with both courage and humility, as Anya tried to? How do we discern between righteous conviction and self-righteousness? Consider Matthew 10:16, wise as serpents and innocent as doves. The cost of discipleship. The phrase cost of discipleship, popularized by Bonhoeffer, who himself stood against a powerful crowd, implies sacrifice. What worldly comforts, securities, or approvals might we be called to release to follow Jesus more authentically in specific situations? Finding strength in solitude. Jesus often withdrew to solitary places. When facing the pressure of the crowd, what spiritual practices can help us find the strength, clarity, and peace to stand firm in our convictions, even if we stand alone? Host. These are profound questions, ones that each of us may face in different ways throughout our lives. The path of Jesus is not always the easy one, but it is the path of integrity, truth, and ultimately, life. And as we consider the courage it takes to stand for our beliefs, we look ahead to another complex modern challenge. Next time on Ancient Paths, Modern Steps, we're diving headfirst into a storm that rages across our social media feeds and news headlines. Grace in the guillotine, navigating cancel culture, public shaming, and the radical call to forgiveness. In a world quick to condemn and slow to forgive, where past mistakes can be resurrected to destroy reputations overnight, how do we, as followers of Jesus, respond? Is there a place for accountability without annihilation? How does Jesus' radical teaching on forgiveness, 70 times 7, challenge the prevailing winds of cancel culture? Can we uphold justice and truth while still offering a path to redemption, even for those whose actions or words have caused genuine harm? Join us as we explore how the ancient call to mercy, repentance, and restorative justice can offer a life-giving alternative to the digital pitchforks of our age. Don't miss this crucial discussion. Subscribe to Ancient Paths, Modern Steps wherever you get your podcasts, and let's learn together how to extend grace in even the most graceless corners of our world.